Welcome to D23E, a PUBG strategy designed to win you more chicken dinners. D23E will get you consistently into the top 10, putting you in a position where you'll have more chances to win the game. The D23 strategy and this video covers where to drop, where to loot, what weapons and equipment to concentrate on, and what to do in the final circles. The D23E strategy works for solos, duos and squads, although as it is based around avoiding combat until the final stages of the game, the more gung-ho members of your squad could get a little bored. D23E works for all levels of player, even if your gunfighting skills need some work, because it's designed to get you to the end of the game by avoiding gunfights. D23E will teach you tactics to use in the final circles to minimise your exposure to gunfights, and it will teach you to only engage the enemy on your terms, giving you the advantage. My most common number of kills for each solo chicken dinner is just 3, and almost all of these are in the end game. D23E stands for drive to the third circle and then work the edge of the next circle on foot. That is the core of this strategy. You drop along a coastal road, always grab a vehicle, drive well away from the flight path of the plane. You can then loot safely and then drive to the safe, quiet edge of the first circle and loot again. You then drive to the safe, quiet edge of the second circle, again, loot if necessary, and then our final drive is to a safe or quiet edge of the third circle, and then it's all on foot from there, playing the edge. You'll then use easily followed but proven combat tactics to get you safely through the last circles, and if luck and the circle is on your side, a chicken dinner. I'm not going to lie to you, you won't win a chicken dinner every time you use the D23E strategy, but you will get to the top 10 more consistently, and winning PUBG is about playing the numbers. Players often complain that the RNG of PUBG, the randomness, often ruins their chances of winning. Their complaints usually revolve around how the random placement of the last few circles puts them at disadvantage, usually because they then got no cover or have exposed ground to run across. They are of course right and do have a point, but the way you beat the RNG in PUBG, the way that you beat the randomness, is to consistently get to the top 10, to consistently get to the final circles. And although yes, you'll get many unfair ones, you'll also get some circles that will be in your favour, where you'll have the advantage and then perhaps win. Okay, so let's get started looking at D23 in more detail and the tactics you'll use to execute it. First up, where to drop. As soon as you're on the plane, look at which direction it's going in. Look at the map and estimate the flight path. Where will it cross the coast? Where's it flying towards and across? And where will it exit from the main line across the coast? All you have to do is pick a named large town or city on the map that is far away from the flight path but on the coast or, near it. You then jump along the coast road that's in that direction, fly out as far as you can, and then when your parachute cuts in automatically, start looking for a vehicle. Grab the vehicle, drive to your destination and loot in peace. Let me show you some examples. So in this south-north split we could choose here, and again we would jump in this direction to the road, find a car and then drive. In this east-west split we could choose here, and again we would jump in the direction of this road, find a car and then drive there. In this northeast to southwest split you might want to choose this location, and again we would jump in the direction of this road, find a car and then drive there. The actual vehicle you get doesn't matter, but just please drive safely and stick to the roads. Park the vehicle somewhere safe where you'll remember where it is. Use a marker if necessary, especially on Miramar. Because always remember, this vehicle is your lifeline to escaping the blue to the next circle, and it is essential to the D23E strategy. Now, we loot like mad. Keep your wits about you though, because some enemies may have had the same idea, and you'll be amazed how far the parachutes can take you if you open them straight after exiting the plane. Keep your headphones turned up loud and avoid making too much noise yourself, so don't go around smashing windows, firing weapons or throwing grenades. We might as well talk about the things you should be looking for. Obviously you want to get the highest level helmets, armoured vests and bags to carry your stuff. Don't ignore bandages. You'll want about 15 in case we got caught in the blue, because bandages are a great way to heal yourself when there's no chance of being interrupted, normally in the first or second circle when you've got caught in the blue. They're just normally too slow and no good for the final circles where we'll be using boosts, first aid kits and a med kit if we're lucky enough to find one. Let there be no doubt, first aid kits, energy drinks and painkillers win chicken dinners. If you've got about 3 first aid kits and a couple of painkillers and 3 energy drinks when you set out on foot from your jumping off point at the edge of the third circle, you'll have increased your chances of winning dramatically. So, a minimum medical loadout, if you can, would be 3 first aid kits, 2 painkillers and 3 energy drinks. The med kit, which will heal you to full health, is very nice, but they're very rare and they're very slow when to use them. So sometimes I think if you've got one, it's best to use it to get you to full health before you set out on foot at the edge of that third circle. If you can pick up more meds, great. Drop bandages in favour of first aids and med kits. And if you can't carry any more painkillers or energy drinks, chug them down now, even right at the beginning of the game, because again, you don't know who you might run into. Weapons next. It probably sounds obvious, but you'll need a good close to medium range weapon and a good medium to long range with the appropriate scopes. As you start looting, pick up all the SMG and rifle ammo you come across, whether that be 9mm, 45mm, 5.56 and 7.62, because at this point you don't know what guns you're going to find. A good rule of thumb is to pick up as much 5.56 and 7.62 ammo as you can, as that's generally what the best guns use, and your loadout will probably revolve around having at least one of those weapons. Pick up most of the attachment and scopes too, but avoid shotgun chokes, shotgun loops and quivers for the crossbow. You will have your own preferences by now playing PUBG, but you might want to consider the following. I like to run a double AR or an AR and sniper loadout, but circumstances mean that you might have to run an SMG as your close range weapon, and ongoing weapon balance patches do alter the meta, do alter how the game plays, so take my gun advice with a pinch of salt, because it will have changed by the time you come around to playing it. If we're talking about SMGs, from worst to best, I would say probably something like the Tommy gun, then the Uzi, and then the UMP with a hollow, and the Vector with a hollow. Now, the Vector is an amazing weapon, but it must have an extended mag, so if you can't find an extended mag for your Vector, go with the UMP. But probably with all the SMGs, you want to add an extended or quick draw extended mag if you can, but the Vector especially is useless without it. Now, at the same time as we're running around, we'll be coming across the assault rifles, which can be used at basically any range. What you use them for will depend on how much ammo you pick up and which scopes you've got. The AK excels at close range with a hollow or a red dot on full auto. It's adequate at medium to long range, say with a 2x or 4x, but I'd only use it for that role if I couldn't find anything better. The M16 burst assault rifle takes a bit of getting used to, but add a hollow or a red dot and an extended mag and you've got a close to medium range monster. Stick a 4x on it, put it in single fire, and even a suppressor, and it is very, very good because it has a very fast bullet velocity with very little recoil. So although the damage isn't as high as something like the AK or the sniper rifles, you can put out a lot of bullets in a short period of time very accurately, which means that you can bring people down if you're not that accurate like myself. As I've said, to use these assault rifles at medium to long range, you need to add a scope and use them probably on single shot, and for me the best case scenario would probably be something like a 4x scope, and then maybe settling for a 2x scope, or if nothing else, a red dot. Now, at the time of recording this video, the new 3x and 6x sights weren't available on the Xbox, so as they are added to the game, check them out and see what works for you. We must mention the DMRs, the SKS and the Mini 14, and there will be the new SLR as well. These are semi-auto only and work great as medium to long range weapons, but need slightly more skill to use. Combine them with your favourite close range weapon and you'll be very effective at engaging targets at longer ranges. Two more weapons to talk about are the D23E LMG and the Kar98 sniper rifle. Both are rare, but you will come across them. The DP28 is a little like an AK on steroids with a massive magazine, and the Kar98 sniper rifle is a high risk, high reward option. The Kar98 will one-shot kill all enemies with a headshot unless they're wearing a level 3 helmet, so you can take out enemies instantly. It does, however, take a very long time to reload, so if you miss that headshot, you're at a disadvantage if your enemy starts firing back. You want to outfit all your weapons with all the attachments, including extended quick draw mags, compensators on your close range, and suppressors on your long range weapons, but these are rare, so flash hiders and compensators will often have to suffice in the place of a suppressor. So, what's my favourite setup at the moment? I quite like the Vector or UMP, with extended mags and a hollow for my short range, and then an SKS or a 4x for medium to long range. Or another option would be an AK with a hollow for short to medium, then a Mini 14 with a 4x. But probably at the moment, my perfect setup would be a fully stacked, fully auto M416 with a hollow for medium to close range work, and then a silenced, fully stacked M16 set on single shot with a 4x for my long distance. In my bag, I'll always try and keep a 2x or a hollow scope in reserve for the M16, so if the final circles are at close quarters, say in an urban environment, I can stick a close quarter sight on the M16, put it on burst, and it will still be very, very usable. Don't, however, get too hung up on having the perfect setup. Don't think because you don't find your perfect gun, you can't win, because plenty of my wins have just been with an M16 with a 2x, or a 416 with a red shot, with a red dot, or just with something like an AK. Now, after a few minutes, the first circle will appear, so check your map to see if you're in or how far away it is. If we're in, we've got a few more minutes of looting at this town, and if we're not in, because we've got a vehicle, we can loot up right up until the time the circle is overrunning us. Don't stress too much at this stage if you get caught in the blue on your way to the next circle, as the blue does very little damage and you'll be able to survive by using bandages every now and again. If you are out of the circle, what you should do now is take a look at the circle and recall the flight path of the plane. Ask yourself which edge of the circle is away from the flight path and away from major named parts of the map. As you've already driven a fair way to get where you are, it's probably pretty obvious if the circle has formed nearer to you. However, things get a little bit more complicated if the circle has formed a long way away from you on the other side of the flight path, because the circle could well be in a situation where the quiet side is on the opposite side of the map. This quiet side really is where you should be thinking about going next. As the blue comes in, get back in your vehicle. Before you get in though, make sure you've got your close range gun equipped, it's set on auto and it's been reloaded. Get in, put a mark on the map and drive to some buildings on the quiet edge of the circle away from named areas. There's no rushes as you travel across the map. Drive safely and don't flip your ride. As you approach your destination, look for open doors, do a circuit around and always go around the outside of the compounds, not through the middle. If there are any doors are open or there's vehicles there, keep on driving to another set of houses. When you are looting, loot with your weapon out and listen for approaching enemies. If you hear anything, freeze and listen. If they're in a vehicle, poke your head out and shoot at them. That's often enough to scare them off. If they're on foot or they've already exited the vehicle, let them move and give their position away, then decide whether to engage, wait or jump in your vehicle and get going. If everything is quiet and you need more equipment, consider driving to nearby compounds. Just bear in mind that every time you move in a vehicle, you're giving your position away, and every new building could be hiding a camper. So if there's any open doors or vehicles parked, drive on. The second blue will come in quicker than the first, so keep an eye on the clock. Check the map to work out which buildings are at the edge of the circle you'll be working to. Choose a safe edge away from the plane's flight path and go to the next circle as the blue is approaching your position. In solos, you're pretty safe to hole up and wait inside houses in the second and third circles, but be aware that in duos and squads that attackers have a big advantage against you. They can throw multiple grenades through windows and breach through different doors and windows at the same time. Often, if you're being attacked while you're in a house, the better tactic is to get outside and engage enemies from cover before they get on their vehicles, or if necessary, move away from the house while they're trying to move around and get an angle on them. Worst case scenario, you're going to scare them off, and at best you're going to kill them. Now, as things are getting tighter on the map, you might not be able to find a safe compound in the second circle. If so, just keep driving and wait for the location of the third circle. If you've no need for loot, consider moving early to a building on a safe, quiet edge of the third circle. If there aren't many buildings in the third, arrive late and pick a safe spot on the edge to hop out and wait for where the fourth circle will be. Another point worth noting is that at this stage of the match, closed doors don't mean there isn't someone inside. From now on, enemies will be hiding inside buildings, so look through windows and see if internal doors are opened or closed, or if other buildings in the compound have open doors. There could well be an out-of-place vehicle nearby. If your headphones are loud enough, you can even hear people moving around in houses if you coast by in a vehicle with the throttle off. So, now we're on the edge of the third circle, waiting for the location of the fourth circle, or maybe it's already appeared. We should be watching if we're inside a house towards the outside of the blue, or if you're on a side of a hill, to the outside of the blue for stragglers, because this is going to be your jumping off point to the end game. So, you're safe at the edge of the third circle, you're ready to strike out on foot, then the fourth circle appears. Check your map and put a marker in the centre. This gives you a point of reference, so you'll always know where you should be headed. Look how far away the fourth circle is. If it's close, you can push late. Far, and you do have to go early. If it's a medium distance, wait until, say, about a minute to go. Carefully examine the way ahead. Where's the cover? Where could other players be hiding? Where have you heard gunshots or vehicles? Decide which route you're going to take, and when the time is right, make your move. Guns out, jiggling side to side all the way. You want to be moving from cover to cover using trees, rocks and the dips and rises of the terrain. When you're on foot to the fourth circle, be very careful of rear and flanks as well as those in front. Late comers will be on their way and people will be in the circle already looking back towards you. As you're moving towards the fourth circle, always be asking yourself the following questions. Is there cover in front? If not, move to the cover sideways or forward. Do not stop. Do not go prone unless there is hard cover like a big rock. Grass does not render beyond a couple of 100 meters, and you might think you're hidden in the grass, but your enemies will see you and will have time to line up a game-ending headshot. Be thinking, is my rear safe? Have a look behind you. Are my flanks secure? Check from side to side. Keep a secure wedge on your part of the circle as you're moving in, say about 10 to 20 meters wide, where you zigzag back and forth, checking the edges using cover. Ask yourself, do I know where the centre of the circle is? Am I going in the right direction? Mark it on the map if you haven't already. Take your boosts, one painkiller and one energy drink will fully do your boost, and keep jiggling while you do so. Listen for gunfights, because that's where the people are. So we're safe at the edge of the fourth circle, and the circle will move again. Mark it. Again, wait. Go too early and people might come from behind from you. Go too late and you'll be caught in the blue. Look at the distance you've got to cover. Look for the best route via cover and away from the gun noise. Move fast, jiggling, and slow up when you get near the circle. Carry on creating that secure wedge by patrolling side to side as you move. Keep looking out for enemies. Look at the sides of rocks and the sides of trees. As the circles get smaller, so will that safe wedge. Remember to keep checking flanks and reach the circle just as it comes in if possible, depending on the cover. Now, always keep to the edge. Avoid running into the middle of the circle. Most players playing the edge will be looking in, so anyone moving too soon will easily be spotted. Now we're in the fifth circle, and again we've got to ask those questions. Am I in the safe zone? Have I got cover in front of me? If not, move to cover sideways or forward. Don't stop moving. Is my rear safe? Check for runners from the blue or people running along the edge of the circle. Are my flanks secure? Again, do I know the centre of the circle? Have I marked it yet? Do I need to take a couple of boosts to keep me up there? Listens for gunfights. That's where people are. At this point, playing the edge, your rear behind you will probably be secure because players caught in the blue at this point will die very, very quickly. We're now into the last circles, which are very small. All of your chances are really affected by the randomness of PUBG. Will that circle and will the terrain be kind or cruel? Will you have to push the circle? Will it be on you? And will your enemies have to push towards you? If they do, hold your ground if you're behind cover. If there's no cover available, remember, you can use bushes, kneel in them. You can use simple dips in the ground and let those enemies come. Listen. Peek the sides if you see them behind cover, and remember, pepper their cover to slow them down. If someone isn't safe and they're away from you, simply by firing at their cover, say it's a tree or a rock, could slow them down enough where they leave too late and they die from the blue. Try not to stay still. Keep jiggling to avoid headshots. The rule is, always assume someone is lining up on a headshot on you, no matter what cover you're behind. Now, if you're not in the circle at this point, as you're moving, you might want to consider using smoke grenades for cover if it's very open. Look where those enemies are again. Think about, are they behind the trees? Are they behind the rocks? And maybe move in an arc. Whatever you do, don't get caught in the blue because you'll die very quickly at this stage. If you're in an urban area, move from house to house, jump from upper windows and balconies if need be, and get to that safe zone. Again, if you're in very, very large open areas to move across, again, use smoke as a distraction. Maybe go early. Shoulder your gun and run fast. Maybe sprint in front of the blue if you have to go very late. And again, one of the things you can do is wait for gunfire to start. You know people are shooting at each other and they'll be looking towards that gunfire, and then go because your enemies will be distracted. In these last mad dashes from the blue, you'll often get easy kills on players who are fixated on reaching the safe zone, but just remember that time speeds up as soon as you get in a gunfight. 1 second you'll look at the clock thinking you've got plenty of time, and you'll take a few shots and you'll be surprised to see that you're out of time and being engulfed by the blue. Now, when it's down to the last 4 or 3, really listen for those gunshots to work out where the remaining players are. If you see someone and you've got a shot, take it. But realise that your enemies will now know where you are, so consider moving. Do not loot the body unless you are completely out of ammo. When it's down to 3, and one of the other 2 shoots the other, the last shot is where your enemy is, and you have the advantage. If you have to take that shot, be aware that your last enemy will know where you are, so be prepared for them rushing you. When you're down to the last 1v1, take your time and make sure you're safe in the circle. Peek cover and listen. Lob grenades towards likely hiding places. Have your head on a swivel and be ready to fire. You've done very well to get this far, so take a breath, calm down and play the scenario out. If you win, great. If you don't, you've still got the D23E strategy to get you into this situation in the next match, maybe with more favourable conditions. If you're really, really lucky, you'll get to the final circle and your enemy or enemies will be trapped inside a building with no exits to the safe zone, or they may just be unwilling to dash out and challenge you and will prepare to take their chances when the blue completely closes. If this is the case, get to the middle of the final circle, med to full health, take all your boosts and stay watching the direction they might be coming from. Chances are you'll get an easy chicken win as they die to the blue. So, now, let's talk about a little when things go wrong when you're trying to execute strategy D23E, where you need a plan B. Let's say someone grabs the vehicle you're going for. Just keep running and you'll probably find another one. Or you might have to cut inland, loot up, see where the circle is, then strike on foot towards another road to get a car. You'll always find a vehicle somewhere on a road if you run long enough. However, if you're really unlucky and you don't, going on foot for the whole time definitely works if the circle is kind. So if you are in that situation, just keep on going and try to get yourself in the best position. Always remember though that the key to this strategy is to winning more chicken dinners is jumping far, getting a vehicle, looting safely, then getting to a safe point at the edge of the third circle where you push in on foot, playing the edge. Try this every game and I guarantee you and your squad mates will get more chicken dinners. Okay, I know this has been a really long video. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions or comments, please put them down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. Thank you very much, and I will see you again soon.